Okay, last question I had for you was kind of a deeper question. I don't know if
Sure.
like it's meant to be this deep, but like, man, I was talking to some friends of mine and just about like, we've been chasing this goal of becoming a doctor for
Sure.
however long now, ever since high school, honestly. And we're such driven individuals that like in my mind, when we reach that goal of becoming a doctor, it's always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? I
Yeah.
don't know. Is it like for me, when you've reached that goal, you become a physician, was it like as great as it seemed? Was it like underwhelming? Was it overwhelming? What was that process like for you? Because I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel as though we're all very similar, I would say, in that aspect, right? Very, very highly driven individuals. A lot of us have wanted to do medicine for a long, long time. Um, I do have to say everybody's experience is slightly different, right? For me, if you're asking me personally, kind of how I felt with the whole process, going from high school, college, pre med, and then into medicine, right, and then medical school to residency, right. That was a huge step for me, right. I always say my biggest accomplishment was AOA, right, for med school, so that was a huge thing for me. Residency, right. Once I got into it. I would say that, it felt great, of course, matching ENT. That was a huge, big, big milestone in my career. And now finishing up. And kind of like you said, it's kind of interesting. Well, like I said, it's a very dependent on your personality. For me, of course, I'm super excited, right? I'm super excited to be done. I'm super excited to be an attending, have my own practice, right? I've been trained very, very well to be in that position, to feel confident that, yeah, I have no problems. Seeing patients by myself, running my own clinic by myself, of course, but there's always still more to learn, which I'm excited about that aspect. When you're attending, you're still wanting to learn from other attendings, right? Senior attendings, right?
Yeah.
Because, learning never stops. But going back to that, it depends on your personality. For me, I have, for good or for bad, don't know yet. We'll see kind of my next stage of my career, but I'm always looking for the next thing, right? Excited to kind of push the boundaries of who I am as a person, not only as a physician, but also as a person. So teaching was always my passion, which is why, I want to do MD Boost, go into the business realm because it's something completely new, way different, hard, like as equally hard, if not in a different aspect. Because one of the things about medicine is it teaches us to, in a sense, we know that if we work hard, we stay the course, we continue to push and go from first year to second year med school and then so on and so forth, finish resident, et cetera. The path is kind of set. And so as long as you work hard, you put your mind to it and you're dedicated, you're gonna reach the end goal, right? So that's what medicine, I would say, pretty stable overall, hard in a way of a lot of effort, a lot of time of studying, a lot of hours, right? But if you talk about business, right, and in a sense, business is not exactly the same way. The path is never completely paved, right? You're kind of paving your own way. You can put in a lot of hours, and sometimes it doesn't work, right? And
Mhm.
so, definitely something completely different, but super exciting for me. Stressful, of course, also because, like I said, it's something outside of my realm of comfortable ability, right? Because sometimes I'm working, let's say hours on the YouTube channel, hours on the business, and it's like, oh man, that didn't pan out exactly how I thought it would pan out, right? So different, I would say. So, I don't know if that answers your question. But
Yeah, it really
yeah,
did. I just felt like, for me, I was scared, like not scared, but like I was thinking that like once you reach that goal, it's like, oh, it's over. Like,
yeah,
oh shoot. But like I don't know. I feel like obviously medicine is like the one thing that I'm very like I'm super passionate about, and I'm super excited to become a doctor. But I feel like we put so much effort into like pre
yeah,
med years and like during med school, it's like it's nothing but this, nothing but this. That I'm like over. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to because I was thinking like I feel like I want to focus on things that are not also medicine, like
yeah,
family relationships and like building great friendships with people because being in doctor is not everything.
yeah, yeah,
And
for sure.
so that's kind of what I was like. I just feel like a lot of um my fears were like, I'm just gonna give everything to becoming a doctor. Then when I have it, I'm just gonna sit there and be like, look around and say like, what else is there?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's like too deep, you know?
No, 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 for sure. That's a great question. I mean, I think I think it's not just you thinking about that. There's a lot of people thinking about that, right? And we do commit a lot of our life to the field of medicine, but at the same time, right? I mean, even in medical school and kind of in residency, I always say balance is key because, you don't want to, I mean, if you take yourself outside of medicine or any career, right, besides medicine,
Mhm.
and you commit everything to your career, right? Every waking moment, everything, just thinking about that career, then what ends up happening is other aspects of your life will suffer, right? Your health, right? You're not working out, you're not eating right, you're not keeping in touch with your friends and family, you're not, reaching kind of, let's say, family milestones that you want. Maybe you want kids, maybe you want a wife, right? All these things. And so, even in medical school, I say, work really hard, of course. And sometimes, especially during these standardized tests, you feel like, hey, I am isolated from the world, right? Um, Especially for those 2, 3 months, et cetera, right? But
Yeah.
I would say outside of that, right, to try to find the best balance that you can, right? Because if you don't make time now, um, you won't make time later. Okay, so that's the same thing, right? If you don't make time in medical school to keep up with your health, right, to eat well, right, to keep up with friends, family, etc., right, then what do you think is going to happen when you get to residency, right? It's not going to change there, right?
Dang,
So
that's really good.
yeah. So you got to keep, you got to keep thinking to yourself time management, right? I know everyone has told you that, right? Time management, right? Use your time wisely. And if you make time for something, it will happen, right? So let's say, me and you want to go grab a drink, right? And in your mind, you're like, oh, it'll happen when it happens. It won't happen, right? But if you're like, you know what? I'm going to spend an hour. We're going to go get some, lunch, dinner, eat, relax, and then come back and I'll study again, then you've made time, a pocket of time to be able to enjoy stuff like that so that, I know that sounds weird, but you won't forget how to, manage that or put in time to enjoy
Mm.
things in life, right? Because if not, then it's never going to be there, right? So, I mean, if you want to give me as an example, right? Working a ton, residency, have time, making time for the business, but also, I enjoy teaching one on one, which is why I still tutor, right? And then also on top of that, right, I still have to, spend time with my fiance, right? Spend time
For
with the
sure.
dogs, right? Eat, right? Healthy, right? Work out every day, right? But those things don't happen overnight. It takes time to balance everything. And if you add one thing, every couple months to your list of like, oh, okay, I've made time for an hour for this. Oh, I made another hour for another this. Then you become more well balanced as a person. So
Hey, dude, that's really good. I really appreciate that advice because Um, yeah, dude. I mean, I felt like I was not like necessarily giving, I have people who mean a lot to me in my life and like they're trying to reach out. And I'm just like sitting here and just like, I just need to study. I can't. But I
yeah,
feel like I was thinking about it as like just going to bed or like, in the shower, just random thought, like shower thoughts. Like, man, like these people mean more to me than like I ever would have thought. And I don't want to like lose that just because of
yeah,
like a goal that is in 10, however long many years down the line for me. And obviously it's closer than like other people, but
sure.
still, like, yeah, I appreciate that a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. You just have to make time. And like I said, sometimes you do have to say no, right? Because it's a fine balance of everything, right? Sometimes if you say yes too much, then your studying suffer, right? Sometimes you say no too much, then your social life and outside of medicine suffers, right? So it's a fine balance. And I would never say that there is a I can't give you discrete rules, right? To say, hey, you got to do this, this, and this. Everyone's different, right? Everyone is different. So some people need, to catch up with someone needs 1 to 2 hours straight, right? Some people just need 10 minutes to catch up with someone. Somebody,
Yeah.
some people like to work out for 3 hours, right? So I don't know like who you are like completely, but I would say that if you're conscious about it, right, and you're always thinking, okay, how do I balance better today, right?
Yeah.
Every day is different, right? And as you get better and better, then your routine just becomes more efficient, I would say, more enjoyable and less stressful. So the better that you manage things, kind of all the things that you're talking about, right? Because there's so much more to life than just medicine. And of course, sometimes, during these stressful times of either step one studying, step two studying, applications, aways, it doesn't seem like there is anything that can be done possibly. But if you can even squeak by 15 minutes to give your either parents a call or your friends a call or whoever a call, right? That in itself, more than you realize, I think, over the years that I've been kind of in medicine, it means a lot. And, for me in particular, right? So, friends, family, things like that. Friends, right? My best friends, I text them. as best as I can, I text them at least once every 2 weeks or so, I would say. Everyone's busy, but I try to. And then my family, I talk to them, every morning for like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. And it might not seem a lot, but that's
It's
what kind of
something.
keeps those relationships, yeah, up.
Dang, dude, that's cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
for sure, man. Hopefully that was helpful. But
That
yeah,
was helpful. I was very happy with that.
yeah, good, man. Yeah, whenever you come up with questions like that, I have no issue. Then, I think at the end of the day, this, especially this test in medicine, um, it's more than just, it's more than just, hey, I think part of kind of why I've been so successful as a tutor is not just, oh, let me just walk you through this question. I think it's holistic, right? Like, oh, how do you become a better person, right?
Yeah,
How do you balance better, right? How do you manage stress, right? I think all that's so important to not only doing well on this test, but like, how to become a better person, which in turn will make you a better physician, right? I mean, how many crap people are there out there that are good physicians? And not many, right? I mean,
yeah,
because it just comes hand in hand. Your life almost fuses into, you being a physician. It kind of, who you are as a person kind of translates who you are into a physician. So I think it's super important to ask those questions. And um, a lot of it's not just you that's ever asked me this question, right? So a lot of students have asked me throughout the years. So
yeah.
nothing too deep or anything like that. I think it's very, very reasonable questions.
It's almost like I was even like scared to ask that question. It's like you're not like always on fire for like, and I am on fire for medicine. It's just that sometimes I realize like there are other things to life, and so I was like I feel sometimes even bad asking that question. That I'm like, oh, is this like everything? This be everything? And
Yeah.
so
No, 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 for sure. I mean, I get it. Trust me, I get it. And that's the reason why, sometimes a lot of these times I initiate. I'm not sure if you've noticed that. Sometimes I ask you like, hey, how are you feeling? Right? Are you feeling
yeah,
burnt out? Right? Are you feeling anxious? Right? Like, because I think it's the medicine kind of personalities that it's just like, you don't want to show weakness. You don't want to, show kind of this like, oh, maybe he's not as invested as the rest of them. Right? You're
yeah,
always thinking like, oh, is that what I'm showing? But what I've realized over the years, even for myself, is that one of the most powerful things that shows strength is asking for help. Okay. Maybe not in the day, back in the day, because it was so taboo, right? Like 30, 40, 50 years ago, asking for help, or like, you got to figure out everything by yourself, et cetera, right? Might have been how it was maybe like decades ago. But what I've noticed in my career is that I think of it on efficiency standpoint. Yeah, of course, there's stuff that you're gonna always have to learn by yourself. But like for instance, there's stuff that why sift through thousands of articles, journal articles to try to find like a simple solution for something when you got your attendings that have 2 to 3 decades of experience under. So it's a cheat code,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
why not ask them questions, right? When you're struggling, right? Why not ask them their perspectives, right? And even I always say, even tutoring with you guys, right? Like you guys will ask me a question like during some of the stuff, questions wise, even like technical questions, I'd be like, holy crap, I never thought of it like that. Like,
mhm.
so you always learn from everyone, right? It's not, you're never once you get to a point that you feel like you're too good to learn, I think that's when you start declining as a physician, to be honest.
Dang,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah. You have to just kind of always be humble enough to say, hey, like, sometimes medical students say something, you're like, oh crap, like I don't remember that. Maybe that's right. And so I always go, if I ever have that kind of inkling of I could be wrong, I go, let me look that up. You could be right. I always say that because I'm not afraid to be wrong. Right. But there's some
Yeah,
people that are like, oh, that can't be it, and make like the medical students feel bad. And then they look it up later and they never like say, hey, actually, you're right. Right. Because I think, every opportunity when you have a discussion in medicine is an opportunity to learn, even for me. Right. Like sometimes
yeah,
someone will tell me something about ENT, and I was like, I don't remember that, but well, let me check. And it's something specific on a gene standpoint. I'm like, oh, that's right. Why
that's
not?
good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah, you're good. Right. And so, as long as you have that mentality and you ask for help, and of course, there's some, like you said, some of these deeper questions, some of these more soft skills of medicine. Not everyone is in tune to that. So you have to also be careful who you ask these questions to. Of course, medical students ask me whatever, whenever, however, right? I don't care,
yeah,
right? But of course, like, my advice is, for certain attendings, if you kind of get that feel like, oh, this attending's like real rough around the edges, right? He's real old school, right? Doesn't really kind of talk about the soft stuff. Probably not the greatest person to ask. But that's kind of the social aspect of medicine, right? Figuring out, when you ask for help, obviously there's a correct people to ask for help, and there's also incorrect people to ask for help, right? So, but I would say that searching out help adequately, and then it'll make you more efficient too. So,
Yeah, dude, that's really cool. That's kind of like my whole point with like even talking to my fellow classmates about like me failing and everything.
yeah,
I was really at first, like the first day, obviously, I was like, I want no one to know because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
for sure.
so embarrassing. But like, I feel like just going through it now, like I've opened up so much like love and support just by being like vulnerable and weak with people.
Yeah,
Just because like people see like, oh yeah, we all struggle through everything, like, and
yeah,
I've had a lot of friends tell me like, actually, I didn't, this is I applied 3 times in med school, I applied 4 times in med school, and now I'm here, and so like, dude, like you're gonna be fine, and so,
yeah,
um,
yeah. No, I mean, I told you that. I mean, like I said, I always speak in kind of, I keep you guys very anonymous. So you don't know who I tutor, who I don't tutor. But there's a lot of people that I tutor that, they tried 3, 4 times to get into med school. They, failed a couple classes in med school. Right. And, that everyone has their own struggle. Right. And so you just don't know about it. Right. But I can promise you that throughout all the years that I've tutored, I can promise you that failing step one is not the worst thing that I've ever heard, right? And it's not going to ever be the worst thing that I ever hear, right? And because everyone has their own struggles, right? Some people disappear from med school for 2 years because of a family thing, and then they come back, right? Some people fail a couple classes, they get held back a year or two, right? And they're on their last leg. If they don't pass, then they get kicked out, right? So I've had every situation, and so you just, like you said, you just have to think to yourself, everyone struggles, everyone has obstacles, and this just happens to be your story. And so if you own it, improve from it, think about kind of next steps, what to do, ask for help, and improve. That's all you can ask for yourself. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's
yeah,
nothing more that you can ask from yourself. And I think on a mental standpoint, it's a healthier way to think, anyways.
for sure. Cool, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, let's get into some questions here. Great questions. Like I said, if you ever have questions like that, just ask me.
For sure, for sure.